Amol Nirgudkar. I'm the CEO of Patient Prism. And we have today Jon Fidler from Fidler Associates talking about recruiting, culture, vision, hiring the right people in your organization to build it up to go to the next level. And as the DSO industry goes through this evolution from, and dentistry goes through this evolution to become a more organized industry. And there's a lot of emerging DSOs out there that are thinking about, okay, how do we scale up, right? How do we scale up? And the most important thing that we've learned from management principles is that you need people and you need processes, right?
Sure.
And with respect to your people, obviously you need a great team of clinicians in the office. You need great front office receptionists. You need great hygienists, all that stuff. But you also need, as you go beyond that 3 and 5 location, and then once you start growing that, it sort of becomes difficult to manage this organization like you manage your few offices, right?
Yep.
So the question in this segment is really about how do you find the right people? How do you ensure that the person that you're hiring is the right fit, whether it's in a CEO role or whatever role that is? What do you look at to make sure the fit's right?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things. So obviously, number one is that is it somebody that you know your group, and like you said, there's no two groups alike.
Sure.
And so what you need internally, you're going to know. You mix that with your financials. Can we afford this type of person? But at the end of the day, are they able to come in and, assuming you have a positive culture at this point,
sure,
that you want to continue, is it somebody that can step in and not just throw a bomb in the middle of it and,
sure,
and make everybody kind of back up and say there's a new sheriff in town? Is it somebody, sure, that can come in and blend in, and again, maybe bring stuff in that from another opportunity that they were at or their previous employment, and bring some more things in to even enhance that culture?
And we've looked at, I've talked to executives from manufacturing, for example, and manufacturing is an incredible industry where, a lot of the lessons manufacturing has already learned over the years, right? It's been around for the longest time. So many of the management challenges in manufacturing could be applied,
right,
things like Six Sigma and total,
yep,
quality management, and so sometimes bringing somebody else from a different industry could help a lot.
Yep.
So what about culture, right? What do you look for in terms of hiring the right person with the right culture? Because not the right culture, but how will they, as far as fit goes, culturally they have to fit, otherwise, sure, it's not going to work.
Sure. Well, and you say that, and sometimes not everybody has the greatest culture, and so sometimes they need maybe somebody to come in and say it's it's been a smaller practice. We've kind of gotten away with maybe not having the best policies and procedures,
sure,
and now it's time to grow up a little bit and have somebody maybe implement some. So there's all of these opportunities to where I think it takes a little bit of taking yourself out of the current situation, kind of giving it that 30,000-foot view,
sure,
and saying what type of person do we need to come in. So not all the time is it somebody that's just going to blend in and not make waves. Sometimes, right, you need somebody to come in and make waves.
Make a little bit of waves,
and do it in the right way, of course,
right,
and not
without causing
threaten
disruptions,
people. Or
right,
but at the same time, where they can bring in and implement some things that maybe you weren't currently doing. You can look at another organization and say, hey, I really like the way that they do that. Let's have them bring that set of policies and procedures over.
Do you recommend, and have you seen sort of like a document that says here's who we are, and somebody marks off a checklist of, okay, they fit this check, they fit that check. Is there something you should get it down to that level where you say this is who we are, this is what we believe in, and this is what we feel our candidates should fit at the minimum? And
yes.
Have you seen that happen?
So I don't know if I've seen a physical one. I
okay,
think as we sit and we talk to owners and go through this,
okay,
we say, what exactly are you looking for? What type of person? What experience? What how many folks are they going to manage? Do you want them to be an accountability manager where they can say, hey, we need to have a relationship, but you need to be held accountable?
Sure.
Or do we need to have somebody come in and liven things up? So I don't know if I've seen a physical form of that, but I think a lot of folks mentally have that checklist.
Right.
They just don't put it on paper quite a bit.
Because you sometimes want to take that into science as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's art, hiring is art, but hiring should also be a little bit of science.
Completely.
Because you can kind of check off maybe 9 out of 10 things,
yep,
and maybe the 10th thing is your gut.
Yep.
But 9 out of 10 things should be like, okay, we want this, we want this. What about getting buy-in? Should you get in buy-in from other team members who are going to dealing with them directly?
Yeah, so we recommend it. So we think that from our experience, what we've seen is it's one thing for Amol to sit here and hire the next, COO of Patient Prism.
Sure.
It's one thing that if the people that they're going to be managing can sit in, and they do not need to sit in on the entire process.
Right, right.
But I do think once you kind of get down to the final few candidates,
Okay.
we encourage, the more perspective you have on somebody, the better off they will be. And then I think on that next level, what it does is they feel like they're involved in that hiring process. And so if they recommend somebody, they get hired, they're willing to work a little bit harder because they've also put their name on that person now. So they want to make sure that fits and not just say, hey, you hired them, it doesn't work. We have a say in this too, and we're going to make sure this works.
And are you going to document, are you going to have them document a set of things that they will notate about a candidate?
I think you can. I think that there's two different ways to do that. You can go and document it and say, hey, here's what we were looking for. This person fits it. You agreed. But then there's also, afterwards you sit around and you just say, hey, could you see yourself working for this person? And can you, so I think it just depends on how formal you want the process to be with them. But
Sure.
I do think that the more buy-in that you get and the more support you get from the team that they're going to be managing, the harder they're going to make that person fit as well.
But you, at the same time, you still want them to speaking the truth, right? Because I talk about Ray Dalio a lot in my
Yes.
talks, and one of the things he talks about is radical truth and radical transparency.
Yep.
And you want that radical feedback because otherwise, people will just say what they say, and,
Yep.
and you don't get.
Yeah,
the true
and I
feedback.
feel if those people are involved in that process and they're not telling you the truth, then it's only going to hurt the process. So you need to make sure that it's somebody, whether it's an assistant or an office manager or a
Sure.
controller or whichever portion it is, that they are 100% true, and they have to know that that's a safe place to do
Do you
that.
recommend hanging out with these folks in a social context, taking them out to dinners or baseball games?
I think
to see how they interact with
yes,
other people?
I definitely think at the C level you need to do that. So I think
Okay.
whether it's having dinner, again, whether it's going out somewhere, because we can all put on the happy smiley from 8 to 5.
Sure.
But they're going to be representing the company outside of just the work hours, and so you're always networking. Whether if you're at a baseball game and you see somebody that is overly friendly and you want to hire them as an office manager, they're going to be watching that person too.
Absolutely.
And if that person is unruly or out of control or loud or anything that maybe
how
doesn't
they treat
stand,
other people, right?
That's exactly right. That carries a lot of weight.
That's the one thing I notice a lot about how people treat waiters at restaurants, right? If you treat them with compassion and kindness, you want to, it brings a new level of admiration for that person.
Yeah, and it has to be genuine, and you can pick up on that. Are
Absolutely.
they just doing it because they're out to dinner with you too? You can get a feel for that.
So I guess there's many things that you kind of look at. Some can be documented in a formal process. Some are just but I think having other people involved in your organization to make sure that this fits the right fit is crucial.
Yeah, the buy-in's critical.
Well, good. This has been a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much for that, and we'll keep going. Thank you.
All right, thank you.